Hey, super scientists, we're starting your new unit on microbiology. We're first going to start with micro 1 on page 4 and look at parasites. So, micro, your stem, means small, and we know that bio means life. So, we're referring to, when we say microbiology, we're referring to organisms that are really small, that can't be seen without the aid of a microscope. And most of these organisms are going to be considered alive. However, one that we talk about, viruses, is not considered to be alive. But today we're focusing on parasites. So microorganisms, the term microorganism is going to refer to your stem, small, again, micro, and we're just referring to organisms that are small. And microorganisms is also referred to as microbes. So these organisms that we're talking about that are super small, you have to use a microscope in order to see them. These samples can be taken from lots of different places, can be from your bloodstream, can be from saliva, can be from pond water, for example. So you may find microorganisms in lots of different places. But the ones that we're focusing on in this chapter are going to be ones that can cause disease. Pathogens is the first term that we're going to be looking at here. So patho refers to disease, and we know that gen means origin, or it means causing, producing. So literally pathogens produce, they cause disease. So just remember to use your stems when you see this word in the future. So pathogens are going to be microorganisms that cause infectious disease of some kind. There's several types of pathogens that we're going to be studying. We're going to be looking at viruses, bacteria, fungi, protists, and parasites. So you may be familiar with a few of these, but we're going to look at their characteristics in more detail in this unit, and we're also going to be looking at diseases that they might be able to cause. So what is a parasite? This section is looking specifically at parasites, which are awesome. So a parasite is an organism that is going to require a host. It is something that is going to need to live in or on a host in order to reproduce, in order to have nourishment that it needs. So it's going to harm the host and it's going to exist in the host. So we've got lots of fun parasites here. Little pinworm that's in somebody's eyeball. This is a fungi that's actually like taken over this moth here, so it's acting very parasitic. You're probably familiar with these guys, ticks. This one is full of blood apparently. And this is an isopod. It's a sort of like a little roly-poly that you may be familiar with, and it basically chews off the fish's tongue and then latches on to the tongue and stays there and lives inside the fish on what used to be its tongue. And that way it can get nourishment and has a good little shelter living inside the fish's mouth. So parasites are going to be very specialized. The structure and the function of parasites is specialized and allows for them to take advantage of, to exploit the host. So it's going to cause harm to the host because, like, if you think about it, if you've got a tick that has bitten you, then it's going to be sucking your blood, and can also cause additional diseases as a result of it. So it's going to live in or on a host, and it's going to cause harm. Natural selection, and natural selection is just a term that refers to the ability of nature to kind of run its course and select the organisms that survive based on the favorable adaptations that they may have and that they may exhibit. So natural selection is going to favor adaptations in those organisms and these parasites that allow for the parasite to efficiently exploit its host. And exploit is referring to using its host, like using the host to the biggest potential that it can. For example, again, looking at a fungus, these fungi have basically zombified and taken over this ant, and that happens to several different types of organisms. Like we looked at moths a few minutes ago on one of the pictures. So then it ends up sprouting, the fungus sprouts out of the dead organisms, the dead insect's body. So other types of microbes can act parasitic if they use a host and if they cause harm. Viruses are key in being or acting parasitic. Viruses act very similar to parasites because viruses need a host and they also cause harm. They'll make you sick. But there are some other ones as well that can cause or that can act parasitic. So this is bacteriophage. Reproduction, and this is simulating that through this little illustration. So these bacteriophages, which are viruses that infect bacteria, so even bacteria can get diseases. So it causes harm to the host cell, and eventually the host cell is, in this case, is going to rupture. You may have heard of ringworm. Ringworm is a fungus. It's not a worm, it's a fungus. And it also acts parasitic. And then this is amoeba. And you may have talked about amoeba last year. Amoeba is a type of protist, and it can cause diseases like dysentery, which is basically diarrhea until you die. And you may have heard of brain-eating amoeba. It's been in the news in the past couple of years, being found in water. So Parasite Spotlight, we're going to look at a couple different types of parasites. This is the awesome tapeworm. Not so awesome if you get it in your body, though. So tapeworms can be really long. Look, it's nice and colorful and cute. So tapeworms are really specialized. They are specialized parasites, specialized to the extent that they don't even have a digestive system. They basically just soak in nutrients from their host through their skin. So here's a little parasite here, a little tapeworm, and basically the tapeworm is going to be excreted through whatever has the tapeworms and tapeworm eggs in their bodies. A lot of pets can get tapeworms, and there's medicine that pets can take, or like a little pill that pets can take to get rid of tapeworms. And a fad diet several years ago, especially out on the West Coast towards California, was ingesting tapeworm eggs in order to lose weight. But tapeworm eggs are pooped out by something. So I just want to leave that right there and let you think about that for a minute. So tapeworms are very specialized parasites. They're specialized to the extent they don't even have a digestive system. They can just soak in all the nutrients in your intestines through their skin. Parasite Spotlight on the hookworm. So here's some nice pictures of hookworms. This is a few hookworms that are visible through the skin. Of course, a microscopic picture of the really nice hookworm, and inside the digestive system or inside the internal organs, so you can kind of see what that looks like as well. Scabies. So scabies, they're basically little mites that burrow up under the skin. They cause these little pustules to occur on the skin, and sometimes you even see little trails under the skin where they're moving around. This is a really bad case of scabies. This is where this good old mite here, the scabies, has laid lots of eggs under the skin, and it's crusted over. Botfly, one of my favorite parasites. The botfly is actually the larva that we see here. So mosquitoes are great biological vectors. They can transmit disease. They can transmit different types of things that may cause harm. So mosquito bite, when a mosquito bites you in an area that has botflies prevalent, it can actually inject the botfly larva into your skin. And so these little larvae grow and grow and get bigger and bigger, and they need air, so they're going to pop out of your skin to be able to breathe, move around. And this is a nice little video illustration of a botfly being removed from someone's head. Giardia is another type of organism that's going to be parasitic. So Giardia is these little guys here. Looks like they've got eyes and they're smiling. They're not. Giardia causes giardiasis, and it actually is transmitted from drinking contaminated water. That's a primary way that it's transmitted, and it's going to cause lots of digestive issues, such as diarrhea, probably vomiting as well. And malaria is another type of parasite. It's actually not necessarily considered a parasite, but it is a protist that's transmitted from the mosquito, and this plasmodium is considered parasitic. So it's transmitted through mosquito bite, and as the mosquito transmits the plasmodium protist, it acts parasitic. So it causes lots of problems, particularly in the circulatory system. That's all, guys. Hope you enjoyed learning about some different types of parasites.